Have you ever wanted something so badly that you're willing to overlook evidence to the contrary? That's confirmation bias. And I almost fell victim to it. And let me tell you why. I received an email from a radio station that was doing interviews on authors for books, and they wanted me on their podcast. Now, everything looked great. I was thinking how great this was going to be to expand myself into a new audience. I was going to be able to show people my book. I was going to be able to talk about continuous improvement, leadership, and all of the things that really mean a lot to me. And the email actually was very convincing. The email talked about my book, talked about my website, talked about my YouTube channel, talked about the brand that I was trying to create, and it made some very specific mentions of things from my book. And as I did more research, I started to realize this was a credible organization. Googled it, found their website, looked at it, thought, yes, this person is real, this person is good, I can do this, it's great. So I started to coordinate when we were going to have this interview over a couple of weeks. And a couple of things started to show up, flags that independently could be explained away. Collectively, they formed a pattern I just simply couldn't ignore. You see, the first email started to talk a little bit about that, and then it just lightly mentioned making a donation to the radio station because they were a non-for-profit organization. And that was true. I looked at their website, they have a donate button, and everything was real. I listened to a couple of their podcasts. They talked about making donations. It seemed to make sense on its own. But as I started to work with them, the pressure to donate became greater. Then I noticed that the method of donation was changing. It went from one Gmail account to another Gmail account. And that was a bit of a flag for me. Then I noticed the dates. There was a misalignment with the dates. They talked about having me on one date, one email, and then the next date they would talk to me about having it on another date. Started to raise a red flag. Another discrepancy was time zones. I noticed that where the actual radio station was in a central time zone. And they were talking about the interview being in a different time zone. Independently, they could be explained away. Maybe the person was working remotely and the host was in a different country. But as I started to see it all come together, I started to realize. Then I got a Google Meets link and I validated that it was a live link and learned that it was. So I decided I was going to take the interview. Then the day of the interview was scheduled, I got an email that was further pressuring to make the donation. Something didn't feel right. So I went back to the website. I noticed that the website email that they had was not the same as the website email that I was receiving the data from. I looked a little bit deeper and it actually specified that if you're getting asked and pressured for donations, then that's not what we do. That's not how we operate. And I realized, okay, all the evidence is pointing that this is something that I should stay away from. And so I did. It would have been really easy for me to discount all of those independent data points and simply rule them out and stay in favor, because the goal was that I wanted to expose my book to a broader audience. I wanted to do that. And they knew that and they leveraged that. So confirmation bias is real. When you're a leader and you're wanting something so bad to implement a new system or add a new tool or buy a new piece of machine, it's easy to be able to look for the evidence to support why you want to do that. A disciplined leader realizes that they are victim to confirmation bias and they look for contrary. They bring people around them who will challenge them. They bring people around them who will think differently and be open to sharing that difference. And they'll take all that information and make an informed decision. Now, my CI training, I quickly recognized that things were not adding up. What looked really good at first turned out to be something I needed to avoid. And I'm thankful for the CI training that I had and the wisdom to be able to see and recognize the patterns in the data that I was seeing. If you're not using data to make your decisions as a leader, then you could be falling victim to confirmation bias. Anyway, I hope I've given you something to think of. If you got value out of this video, make sure you give me a thumbs up. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. I have lots of videos related to CI leadership, coaching, mentoring, and developing your team to become champions of continuous improvement. Thanks for watching.